This is Catholic Forum. I'm Bob Krebs. David Schellenberger is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the St. John Vianney Center, the premier behavioral health and addictions treatment center for clergy and religious men and women. The St. John Vianney Center is sponsoring a day of prayer for the health and wellness of clergy and men and women religious on October the 20th. And the day before that, on October 19th, David will actually be in our diocese giving a presentation at the St. Thomas More Oratory on the campus of the University of Delaware. His presentation is entitled Achieving Mental, Physical, and Spiritual Health. I'd like to welcome to Catholic Forum David Schellenberger. Thanks for taking time to be with us today.
Thank you, Bob. It's a great pleasure to be here with you.
I'd like to find out about the work of the center, about the day of prayer, and also about your presentation in our diocese. But before we do that, tell us a little bit about yourself, if you would, please.
Sure. So I'm a registered nurse by background. I came to St. John Vianney Center in 2008, first working to guide the nursing department and eventually as chief nursing officer. Did that for about 6.5 years before having the opportunity to transition over into our administration office solely as president and CEO. And it's been an amazing journey over these 15 years to be able to help contribute to the health and wellness of clergy and men and women religious in mind, body, and spirit. I'm married to my wife, Karen, for 23 years. Wow. And we have two beautiful daughters, Natalie and Faith.
That's great. How long has the center been in existence?
St. John Vianney Center is celebrating its 77th year of ministry to the church, as we were founded in 1946.
Yeah. And it was founded as a place for clergy and men and women religious to find this type of help?
Yes. Our mission and ministry has always been to serve the ministers of the church. Originally, under the guise of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, St. John Vianney Center was founded to help just the priests of the Archdiocese. And then, as you could imagine, in a rapid amount of time, the behavioral health and addictions needs of clergy and religious worldwide was certainly necessary. And St. John Vianney Center has been able to share their ministry with the church worldwide.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of the behavioral health challenges that our clergy and religious face?
Well, I think over the time that we've been here, the number one concern continues to be depression. Number two is any type of anxiety. We certainly deal with substance abuse concerns. But if I were to take out some of the clinical information and really just talk to your audience about the behavioral health challenges, it really comes down to some of the things that we experience in our lives about feeling overwhelmed, poor stress management, and ultimately poor self-care. The ability for clergy and religious to be able to care for themselves in mind, body, and spirit continues to be an ongoing challenge. So if we were just talking very practically regarding what type of care we provide, it's really about restoring the men and women of the church in mind, body, and spirit.
Have you noticed that over time, some of these challenges that the clergy face have changed? And the reason I bring that up is I think, like, when I was a kid at our parish, we had a pastor, we had 2 or 3 associates, there were some deacons, there were seminarians, there were a lot of people there. It was a community, and I think now a lot of our clergy are alone in a large parish, by themselves, living alone. I would think loneliness would be something that might be something that's an issue more these days than perhaps 50 years ago. Is that correct?
Bob, your experience and your reflection is spot on. The challenges that clergy and men and women religious face now are the mounting pressures to do more with less. As vocations kind of run the roller coaster of up and down, and as our clergy and religious continue to age, they are being forced to do more with less. And in terms to your point about what a rectory used to look like, and perhaps what a monastery used to look like, where the sisters and brothers and priests would live together, that's changed dramatically. And as you noted, many of the diocesan priests are living by themselves, sometimes with multiple parishes to care for, and they're really spread thin. And being able to have that connectedness with one another and relationship buildings continues to be essential. And that also extends to our men and women religious. The communities are getting smaller, the communities are spread out more. So being able to live in community is also a challenge.
And I would think that that also would lead to substance abuse and alcoholism. I think we tend to think of our priests and our religious, the teachers in our schools as not being human, but they have the same issues, the same problems that all of us have.
100%. One of the things that having this amazing opportunity to be here at St. John Vianney Center that I've learned is the continual reflection and reminder that our clergy, men and women religious, are human first before they heard the call, before ordination, before final vows. And they're never going to be able to shake those things that within the human condition that can continue to affect us. So whether it be mental health, physical health, spiritual health, all of those things are a core component of their overall well-being. And what we try to do through some of our outreach programs is to share our 77 years of ministry and experience and to provide those preventative measures so that the men and women can get and stay healthy.
What are some of the signs that that a priest or a religious should be kind of looking for or looking to say that maybe it's time to seek help?
So I think there are a few warning signs that come up that should alert a priest or sister or brother that they could use some help. So feeling lost in their ministry, not feeling inspired, irritability, and not irritability for one particular issue, kind of long-standing irritability. Noticing that your self-care may not be what it was. Maybe you haven't taken a day off in 6 weeks. Maybe you haven't taken a retreat in 4 years. Those type of things really at some point will start to affect the men and women. Other things would be is listen to the people that love and care about you. We all have those persons in our lives that no matter what, they are always looking for our well-being. So when they come to you and they say, David, Bob, you're looking tired, you're not looking well, we need to listen to that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Are the challenges that the clergy and religious face, are they different from for those of us in the lay community?
So in ways there are parallels, but they certainly are different. The realities that we as persons that live together with our families and are perhaps constantly around our friends, at times, back to what you referenced before, it can be very lonely for our clergy and religious. And not having persons to give us constant, honest feedback is one of the challenges that we've learned. There isn't someone that you're coming home to or routinely checking in on that allows you to get that feedback. Mm-hmm. So some of the challenges are the same in terms of we can all experience symptoms of depression. We can all experience anxiety. We all experience grief and loss. But it's about the understanding of how it's affecting us, and for our clergy and religious, how it's affecting them in their ministry.
Mm-hmm. My guest today on Catholic Forum is David Schellenberger. He's the president and CEO of the St. John Vianney Center, which takes care of our priests and our brothers and religious sisters. On October 20th, you're having a day of prayer. How did that come about?
Our day of prayer was inspired by one of our board members when we were having a conversation about all of the amazing work that we do and how our outreach efforts, which are nonstop for tens and tens of years, just continue to move forward to do this outreach. And we were thinking about ways to have folks that can't always experience St. John Vianney Center because we're a behavioral health treatment center. How can we in some ways invite them in to be part of our mission? And the Day of Prayer was born by having the Day of Prayer and asking everyone that we've been in contact with to promote this, because the Day of Prayer is very simple in nature, that it is for the health and wellness of our clergy and men and women religious. And to ask everyone on October 20th to pray in their intentions for the health and wellness of our clergy and religious, we also believed was something that was very attractive to those that have been interested in our mission and ministry.
Mm-hmm. Why was October 20th selected?
Actually, no real date, Bob. I wish I could share with you that there was some epiphany that came along with that. We wanted to watch the rhythm of kind of the liturgical year, and we just thought a Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern would be a nice time. We thought about schools that may wish to live stream the Mass. We think about businesses that may wish to be able to have an early lunch to be able to participate virtually.
Mm-hmm. So walk us through it. How will the day be celebrated?
Yes. So the highlight of the day is at 11 a.m. Eastern. We will have a live stream Mass on our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook. And the Mass will be celebrated in our chapel, Our Lady of Hope Chapel, here on our campus of St. John Vianney Center. Mm-hmm. That day, Mass will be celebrated by Father Dave Braska, who is our chaplain here at St. John's, and the staff will be in attendance that day in our chapel. We invite everyone to participate in the Mass virtually, or if that doesn't work, in your daily intention, spread it wide, spread it far, that day, let's make that day of prayer for our clergy and religious.
Mm. So if you're in the position to go to your Facebook page or your YouTube channel and actually participate in the Mass, great. If not, make a note to pray for our priests and religious every day, but especially on that day. Yeah.
And additionally, Bob, if folks would like to register and to participate and receive updates as we lead into the Day of Prayer, mm-hmm. they can go to our website, and it's sjvcenter.org, and click on the link for our Day of Prayer. You can register and then receive updates as well as the link to the virtual Mass.
Mm-hmm. That's terrific. Now, let's talk about your presentation. The day before that, you'll be at one of our parishes, the St. Thomas More Oratory, which serves the students of University of Delaware, to give a talk. Tell us about that talk, and what are some of the things that participants will learn?
So I had the wonderful opportunity earlier this year to present at the convocation for all of the priests of the Diocese of Wilmington. And at that time, a lot of the essential pieces was about how to be healthy in mind, body, and spirit, and how to take care of yourself with self-care. And then I was invited to come to the oratory to speak to the students because, as you know, our students and our youth have never been at a higher stress level just because of life and circumstances. And what is noted is we all appreciate that our college students sometimes have unrealistic expectations of themselves. They put way too much pressure on themselves, and also to understand the intersection of psychology, medical care, and obviously at the core, our spirituality. So that evening will be dedicated to giving them the tools and also some practical tips about how they can best manage those stressors in their life.
Share a few of those, if you would. What because maybe some of our listeners might be experiencing those things. What can we do to kind of calm ourselves down during this busy time?
Sure. So I always like to think that prayer is a great place to start. We all go through our routine and our rhythm of our prayers. But one thing that I know I experience, and I'll just share this from myself, is that when I feel like the pressures of life and ministry here at St. John's just become too much, I just like to get up and get out of my environment. So, a very practical, easy tip is to get out of the area that is causing you any extra stress and pressure. Go outside, take a brief walk, call someone on the phone, go to the chapel for 10 minutes and say a few Hail Marys and Our Fathers. Do anything to get out of that environment and experience God's graces. That is one very practical and easy thing to do. Many times we just say, keep your nose to the grind and push through. I do not agree with that. I just say, get up, get out, give yourself the relief, and then come back. That would be the number one practical tip.
Right. How about physically? How important is exercise to our mental well-being?
So the research and the connectedness to our overall physical health and our emotional well-being is undeniable now. Research continues to prove this out. In fact, Columbia University in 2018 did a study about the effects of physical activity. So, Bob, I like to use the word physical activity as opposed to exercise because sometimes folks can't do what they would call traditional exercise because of limitations physically, environmentally. But we can all be physically active. So Columbia University said that the sweet spot during a week, 7 days of time, is 2.5 to 4.5 hours of physical activity allows you to decrease the likelihood of being affected of mental stressors like depression, anxiety. So just as simple as getting up and moving around. And when I say physical activity, walking, gardening, swimming, running, golfing, whatever you like, just get up and move.
Yeah. And spiritually, I think there are studies that show people who pray, people who are spiritual, they have less anxiety and depression in their lives too, right?
That is true. Not only do they have less anxiety, but one of the other things in their life is that they are more grateful. So research has proven that folks that have a higher connection to their spirituality actually have more gratitude in their lives. And couldn't we all use that?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. An attitude of gratitude can go a really long way. The folks if someone comes to the St. John Vianney Center, is it usually inpatient or is it outpatient or do you have both? Tell us a little bit about the service that you give.
Sure. So our primary service continues to be our residential facility. So our residential facility is a time where the men and women, they come and they stay with us initially for an assessment period to determine what level of care would be best for them. After the end of the assessment period, the options typically are they would return home to wherever home is and engage in outpatient care, or they may be invited to stay for a course of residential treatment, where then they're afforded the opportunity to be here with their brothers and sisters in Christ and also accept all of the care and services. Additionally, we have our outpatient department, which serves individual psychotherapy as well as spiritual direction. And we also do hundreds of assessments for the priesthood and religious life every year.
That's interesting. Yeah. So if someone is applying for the seminary, they'll go to you for an assessment. Yeah. I'm sure
Correct.
that
Psychological and spiritual assessment, as they've heard the call and they're going through the discernment process with the religious community or the diocese. We can be one of the places that helps them with that assessment.
right. That's a wonderful service that you provide. So October 19th, visit the St. Thomas More Oratory in Newark, and you can hear David speak. And then on October the 20th, tune in for the live stream Mass. And please remember to pray for our priests and religious. Anything else you'd like to add, David?
No, Bob, thank you. It's been a great pleasure to be here and to share our mission and ministry. And anyone can call if they need further information, access a lot of resources through our website. And while we ask for prayers for our clergy and religious, please know that we here at St. John Vianney Center, in our beautiful chapel and through Mass every day, we pray for the faithful that continue to support our clergy and religious.
Thank you so much. David Schellenberger, thanks so much for being with us today on Catholic Forum.
Thank you, Bob.